We've heard this week how much mobile technology and social media are playing into these protests. Demonstrators are using apps to stay connected and avoid censorship. Now, security companies say hackers on mainland China may be using Trojan horse apps to spy on protesters. Samuel Burke has been following the story. He joins me now. Samuel, what do we know about this, and do we ultimately know who is behind this?
This comes in the form of a phishing attack. So often when you get those emails, it looks like your bank, but it's not actually your bank, and you click it, and what the protesters in Hong Kong were receiving were links via WhatsApp, that messenger we talk about so often that Facebook is purchasing, links that made it look like they were going to be directed to new apps for Apple and for Android, but they were really phishing attempts. That means that these apps could actually get their contact information, their browser history from their phone, their GPS location, record the audio on their microphone, and even get their phone call history. That's all according to Raccoon Mobile Security, which is an American-Israeli security company, which unearthed all of this.
It must have a chilling effect on the protesters, I would think, especially many of them students we've covered through the week, many of them there against the wishes of their family. To think that they are somehow being tracked, all of their information has got to be worrisome. Samuel, we've covered a lot of protests and the role social media has played in organizing some of them. This is the first time I remember something like this. Are we looking at a new stage in this relationship between the protest movements and social media?
You know, we've covered the role of social media in places like Egypt, Venezuela. You and I talked about many times when they had protests there not long ago. And what we see oftentimes is cutting off the connection. All of a sudden, people can't get on. But this is the first time in my memory that actually they're being spied on, it would seem, through these fake mobile apps, according to the security technology company. And I think what's most interesting is that the CEO of this company, Raccoon, he told me on a phone call that they dissected the code, and when they dissected this code, all the servers pointed back to mainland China.
Which is all we know. As we see, anytime we see any kind of cybersecurity breach, it's incredibly hard to track this. Do we think that this is going to have an effect on the protesters? I mean, this is an organization, and it's worth pointing out, isn't it, that many times when we see these protests, they're in the developing world and access to information. This is happening in a highly connected, highly sophisticated population that live on their mobile phones. Are they savvy enough to understand what's happening and work around it?
A very tech-savvy community, but the problem is, as soon as some type of hurdle comes up, people are quick to download the newest app. You and I have been talking about Fire Chat app, that app that lets people communicate text messages and photos without an internet connection. And as soon as they had slow internet, they said, okay, we're going to quickly go to this app. That is the nature of my generation. Even savvy people, when they're out protesting, they hear about a new app, they download it, and that's probably what's been happening here. People saw a link, it looked like it was coming from other protesters, and they used it. So I imagine the next few days, people are now going to be much more cautious about what they download, whether it's one of these fake imposter apps or even just a new legitimate app. I think people are going to pause and really think twice before they click that link.